So, are you ready to listen to Shivali Guel? Yes or no? Yeah. Let's wake up, yeah. So Shivali is the leader of the MT and AI initiatives within Adobe's DX globalization team. And she's going to give us an insight about Adobe's globalization team's video translation strategy. She's going to speak about challenges they faced in automating video translation, workflows, and how they overcome them.
Yes. Thank you for the introduction, Marta. Good evening, everyone. Today, I'm going to take you all through my team's journey in trying to leverage AI to automate some of our video localization processes. But before I start, I want to quickly introduce myself. So I am Shivali Goel. I lead the MT and AI initiatives for the Adobe DX globalization team. We are a small but very experienced team, and we support localization for over 100 product features. And in my job as a senior AI globalization engineer, my job is to determine the best use cases for integrating AI into our existing localization workflows, because we've been building this robust infrastructure since quite some years now. And now with the explosion of AI, there are so many opportunities to make our processes more efficient and more fast. So that's my day-to-day job in trying to identifying challenges and then optimizing it with AI. So why video? Last year, I started looking for the next big challenge to solve with AI. And since we had been doing text and video localization for like text and marketing and document and website localization for quite some time now, we feel that we had built like a robust infrastructure there, and there are still improvements, but we could like deprioritize it. But video translation was one of the use cases which fit the bill. And why so? Because there has been a tidal shift in the digital content consumption. Videos are becoming the preferred method of engagement for everyone all across the globe. So people prefer videos for learning about new products. Even some studies show that people even prefer watching videos over reading the product documentation. And our team has been localizing videos since some time now, and we use the automation plus light human post-editing so far. And we were seeing a 41% increase, year-on-year increase in localized video viewership. So all in all, last year, it seemed like the right opportunity, right time to explore if AI could help us automate some of our video localization processes. When I say video localization, I mean automatic subtitling and automatic dubbing. And we wanted to see if AI can do this while maintaining the quality that our current tool or the current process offered. So just as a starter guide, where did we start? So I firmly believe that anything well planned is half done. So we started by drawing an outline, that is asking or defining a set of questions that would give us more clarity to what we are trying to achieve. So within our team, because we handle localization for all the products, so few questions that we were asking were, what are the different types of video content that I own or our team owns, and which out of those types are we even comfortable treating only with AI? And why are we trying to do this? Is the quality of videos, localized videos from our current system not good? Is the cost too high? Or is it that suddenly we are seeing a lot of increase in the volume of videos, and that's impacting the turnaround time, and we want to localize videos faster? So we wanted to define why we are trying to leverage AI or starting this new initiative. And then once we answered all these questions, the next part was that, is our current use case big enough to reinvent the wheel? Can we leverage some of the solutions that are out there, or try some of the state-of-the-art video localization models and get better localized videos? And if yes, then how do we measure success? How do we quantify that one video is better than the other? people usually do Brain tests, which are most probably like A versus B, but we want some numbers. We want that if a video is being ranked higher than the other, then why? And in which areas is it being ranked better than the other? So these were some of the questions that we had when we started this journey. And to start, the first thing we did was we categorized our video set by visibility. So, then we noticed that the lowest visibility had actually the largest amount of videos. And among these, when we nailed down, we saw that these were mostly single speaker tutorial kind of videos, technical tutorial videos. So to begin our experiments with AI in this space, we decided to focus on this group: low visibility, low risk, somewhat easier single speaker tutorial videos. So then, in the initial days, we collected a bunch of test videos from this category and localized them with various tools available in the market at the time, and also through our existing localization process, which was a mix of MT plus light human post-editing. And our reviewers gave a high-level sense of quality being bad in both the scenarios. What we currently had was also not up to the mark. So next, what we wanted to do before we started building out a generic AI system was to drill down the exact issues that we were facing. And let me take you through some of them, and this would make you realize that why video translation is as challenging as it is. So the first challenge was the translation quality itself. In text, we are still trying to continuously improve translation quality, but when we are dealing with spoken content, these challenges become even more amplified. And we have over 150 authors creating these tutorial videos, creating thousands of tutorial videos, and we can't always control how they present content or how they actually create videos. So what we were seeing are issues in speech-to-text itself. So across the tutorial videos, they would pronounce acronym in different ways. For 1.0, we heard like pretty much everything: 1.0, 1.0, 1.0, 1.0. And another interesting example was this one. So this was a tutorial video about digital asset management. And in text-to-speech, the author in this video was going on and on about the DAM user should close the drop-down. The DAM user should move the cursor to this space in the screen. And this is how the text-to-speech was transcribing it. So you can imagine when it got translated into German or any other language, what the video would have sounded like. So these are the challenges that we were seeing, and that's why it was very hard to have like an AI standalone video localization system that we could actually use in production. And same is the case with language translation as well. It's 2024, we have like such nice AI systems, but we still see funny captions in movies time to time, especially like if you, I'm from India originally, so I watch Bollywood movies here, sometimes at the theater, and they all have captions, and they're not accurate at all. So the context really matters in these translations. So this is a challenge that is very common to not just to like our use case of tutorial videos, but videos in general. So that leads me to the next problem, that was the context itself. So to understand this process better, let me tell you like what the current translation process looks like. So you have an English video. So this would be a tutorial video, and then you will create a subtitle file or an SRT file with it. And then what happens is that these individual segments from the SRT files are sent to a translation engine, and then they generate the Japanese subtitle file or Japanese translations. But I think we can already see the problem in this approach because these fragments are really small. And if we are translating it in such a way, then the context is missing. and there are smaller chunks just joined together. So that creates like even more problems, which are listed down below, that there are mistranslation, the grammar becomes wrong, and the fluency also is really bad in these solutions. And some solutions at the time were trying to solve this problem by aggregating these sentences and then sending it to the translations. But we saw, or what we observed, was the accuracy wasn't there. While it worked 80% of the times, there were 20% of the times in which the segmentation algorithm won't work. So it would give us a long, so in the first 10 seconds, as you see here, it would be a long, long Japanese sentence, and then the next 3-4 segments would be just empty. So we couldn't rely on such a system because we needed, if we are trying to productionize it, and if we are just trying to do AI, we needed it to work like 99.99% of the times, at least. So this segmented approach also gave rise to a lot of speech issues. So you see there's like one problem leading to another and then leading to another. So the speech, so what happens when, like, say for example, we are translating from English to Japanese, sometimes the translation in Japanese is shorter. So the time it takes to say like an English phrase, it'll take lesser time to say the same phrase in Japanese. And if we are doing the segment-by-segment approach, then what we were observing was in one sentence, in one Japanese sentence, we could easily hear a group of words. So we could hear like 3-4 words being spoken, then a gap, then 3-4 words being spoken, then a gap. And I have like an example of this as well. So have a listen.
ユーザーを追加 AEM インスタンスにアクセス
Okay, I'll play it again. Thank you.
ユーザーを追加 AEM インスタンスにアクセス役割ごとにユーザーグループを管理すると Adobe
So in the first few seconds of the video only, you could hear that user is Ika. I'm sorry, I'm butchering the Japanese right now, but a gap, access, then a gap, then a long sentence. So this is like, especially in tutorial videos, when you actually want to learn something, your focus then shifts from the content itself to like these issues that you're hearing or like are so audible. And then another issue that we saw was robotic voices. So in some locales, we were seeing the voice was like overwhelmingly robotic, and it didn't sound great. And when the user was listening to this voice on length, it was very jarring for the user. So here is another example.
Neukunden von Adobe Analytics und ich möchte Ihnen zeigen, wie Sie Adobe Analytics in wenigen Minuten implementieren können.
So this just doesn't sound right. It sounds muffled. There are like a bunch of obvious issues. The way he's pronouncing Adobe is also not the best. And these are some things that we wanted to fix, but we wanted to really nail down on what we are trying to fix before we started developing something. And that leads me to another issue that we were seeing, which was really common, was the pacing issues. So sometimes in localized videos, you would notice that the speaker starts speaking really fast and really slow in some sections. So let me play this video as well.
キャンペーンメールデザイナーはキャンペーンに統合された作成エクスペリエンスを提供し、コードを1行もスクリプト化することなく魅力的でパーソナライズされた E メールを素早く簡単に視覚的に作成できます。レスポンシブデザイン用に
So it started out really slow, much slower than it should have been. Then it suddenly became really fast, and it had like all the other issues that we talked about as well. So you were listening to like all the issues in unison, if I can say. So, so let's try to discover what causes this issue, because once we understand the root cause, then we can probably like add a fix for it. So the languages are inherently different. So here I have an example, again, from another tutorial video that we were seeing. And in this video, the speaker takes around 1.4 seconds to say the whole phrase, "Go ahead and save and close." So in this video, he's trying to like show a part of the screen. So he's talking normally at a normal pace, but then he takes his cursor to the top right of the screen, and he does it really fast. And to match his hand movements while he's recording the tutorial, he just says it very quickly. So again, something that we can't really control.
And we can have the digital marketing IMS user group as a member of this group. Go ahead and save and close.
So now, So now if we wanted to translate this into German or localize it into German, German is a morphologically rich language. So the same phrase in German would take about 3 seconds, which is almost double the amount of time for what it took the English speaker to take, to say
Fahren
this.
Sie fort, speichern und schließen Sie.
So now if we were to keep the pace of the speaker constant in the German video, then the video would have already moved on and the audio would have been catching up. And now if we add these 3 or 1.5 second differences, what would have been like a 5-minute English video, if you want to do it right, then it would be like an 8-minute video in German. And that's not a problem, but that's what most people, the most solutions right now, what they try to do is they try speeding up or slowing down the localized audio so that it can match the pace of the video, rather than thinking about these language differences and accommodating for the pace of the speaker. And this is what causes in the previous video, this is what caused the sound to sometimes sound really, really fast and sometimes really, really slow. And just imagine, like, for example, right now we are doing the localization, but is this how, if the tutorial was created in German, is this how we would like to do things? Because if a German user was creating this tutorial, they would probably like take their own time and make a video that was 8 minutes long. So we had once we had a fair idea about the most common issues that we were seeing in our content, we wanted to make the testing of videos against these issues, against these specific issues that we had identified, a repeatable and a measurable process. So for that, we partnered with our LSP partner, and we used a scoring metric that allowed the human annotators to rank videos on 8 set metrics. And these 8 set metrics kind of relate to the problems that we had identified. So for example, overall understandability just tells you if the video localized video conveyed the same meaning as the English video. In style, basically judges the visual appearance and formatting of subtitles, so font size, color, placement, so it gives a score based on these aspects. Linguistic correctness, we all know. For captions accuracy, captions accuracy basically defines whether the audio, how well the captions reflect the audio of the video. So are the captions considering the gaps and the idioms and idiosyncrasies, and also the acronyms, how are they, like if we are saying AEM, then we want the transcription to be A.E.M. So how well we are capturing that was a part of the accuracy. And design was mostly related to the timing and synchronization of the video, captions to the video. And then we had 3 metrics for speech as well. So first one was clarity and pronunciation. Second one was style, which is the delivery and intonation. And the 8th one was spacing, because spacing was off, as we observed in a lot of videos. And these are like weighted scores. So this is just an example table. So we took like weighted scores depending upon like which were the most important problems, and then we created a final score for the video. And then once we had a clear use case that was translating highly technical product tutorial videos, We had clear objectives of solving these 8, 9 problems and a scoring metric in place. We started building our internal tool, which we called Voxify in our team. So this tool we built specifically for Adobe's content and tutorial videos because we had so many of them. So this was the outcome. So here I'm going to play 2 videos. One of this was translated using the old process, and the other one was translated using Voxify. So have a listen and try to guess which one is which. So I'll play the first one.
Adobe キャンペーンメールデザイナーは、キャンペーンに統合された作成エクスペリエンスを提供し、コードを1行もスクリプト化することなく、魅力的でパーソナライズされた E メールを。
And then I'll play the second one.
Adobe キャンペーンズ E メールデザイナーは、完全に統合された作成エクスペリエンスとキャンペーンを提供し、コードを1行も記述することなく、魅力的で個々にパーソナライズされた E メールを素早く容易に視覚的に作成できます。
Okay, so raise your hands if you feel that video A sounded better. And raise your hands if you thought that B sounded better. Oh, awesome. So video B was indeed like through this tool Voxify. And let me go to the next slide. So what fruits did this all like research efforts bear us? So with this tool, we were able to tackle challenges of quality. So pacing got improved, the translation quality got improved, and in fact, when we use the same scoring metric on our existing process and this process, it overwhelmingly defeated the scores across all locales. So we could achieve that. It is fast, where the earlier process took weeks to translate a bunch of videos. This was almost real time. And then it was extremely cost effective. In fact, the earlier process was over 100 times more expensive than this tool. So we were able to reduce costs significantly. And most importantly, it gave us a level of flexibility that we previously didn't have, because now we could easily add additional locales and experiment with several like voices, test different translation engines, because some teams came up to us with their own translated engines that they had built for their own product. So, and we can quickly perform revisions if there is anything that was missing. So how did we get here? So in hindsight, I think identifying the priorities for a specific project was a key. So for tutorial videos, we focused on translation accuracy and visual consistency. Visual consistency, I mean, like if I'm talking about a product, then product names in the video and in the localized product names should have a synergy, should have the same thing that they're saying. And smooth pacing. So translation accuracy, visual consistency, and pacing were the most important aspects for educational content. And meanwhile, aspects like voice tonality and emotional conveyance, while important, were deprioritized a little bit. Also because anticipating future AI advancements to address these areas, because we have a research team at Adobe who's working in like lots of nice generative models and speech models and intonation models. So we could leverage that if that became the user's need. But for tutorial videos, it wasn't. So I'll give you a brief overview of like how Voxify is different and how we solved some of the challenges. So for each problem, we tried a different approach. So for solving for translation issues, we developed a completely new algorithm for subtitle segmentation, which allowed for better context retention while passing the source sentence into the translation engine. Intonation was automatically improved when we switched to using deep neural voices. For fluency, what we did was we adopted an audio-first approach. So we really understood the language differences that we had, and we let the complete audio get generated first, and then we matched it and segmented it to the localized screens. For pacing and to augment the audio-first approach, we were doing both audio and visual editing. So in this approach, we never try to force a long sentence into a short video span, and similarly, we never try to fit a short audio segment into a long video span, because we are editing both the video and the audio. And for caption accuracy, we developed a new time tokenization algorithm. I think we saw like similar algorithms in some of the talks here as well, where you count the phoneme and how long each phoneme takes to pronounce, and then you segment the audio as a post or as an afterthought. So every time I talk about video localization and its future, this is the slide I love to end with. And this is an example from master animators at Disney, whose attention to detail takes localization, in my opinion, a step further with cultural understanding. So what you're seeing here is a scene from the Disney movie Inside Out. On the left, you see the version of the scene being played in the US, where the child is disgusted by the broccoli that is being fed to her. But in Japan, the children actually love broccoli, and the scene wouldn't have made sense. So Disney actually reanimated the scene for the Japanese audience by switching out the broccoli with bell peppers, a less popular food for kids there. So this is where we as an industry, as people in globalization, this is what we aim to achieve, the videos, not just localize, but also have a cultural understanding. So Voxify doesn't modify the contents of the video like this today, but this is what we are looking for forward in the future. And our core research teams are working on speech, tonality models, now generative AI models in video, and maybe if it's integrated in Premiere Pro, it'll be like an easy switch from broccoli to the bell pepper. So thank you so much for attending this talk.